The stars burned cold above the ruined world of Carthus, their light faint through the drifting ash clouds that cloaked the once bustling colony. The city domes were shattered, their glittering glass now jagged ruins. Smoldering towers rose like blackened fingers clawing at the heavens, and the survivors huddled beneath them, waiting for a rescue that everyone had long given up hope for. For months, the allied races had begged for help. The Dominion of Val had struck without warning, a vast armada of cold precision and merciless intent. They reduced colonies to slag and demanded unconditional surrender. The Galactic Council, too afraid to intervene, retreated behind neutral zones and offered only words of condolence. In the void, only silence answered the cries of the broken. Among the refugees was Commander Raylan, a veteran of too many lost battles. His uniform was tattered, his eyes hollow from endless nights of retreat. He stood at the edge of a scorched landing platform, staring at the horizon where the sun struggled through the haze. "They're not coming," whispered one of the wounded soldiers nearby. "No one ever comes," Raylan didn't answer. He had heard that sentence too many times. The Council had declared the Carthus sector abandoned 2 weeks ago. Every friendly transponder had vanished from the network. The Dominion's blockade ships circled in low orbit, their energy weapons ready to incinerate anything that dared to rise from the ground. And yet, deep in the back of his mind, something refused to die. A rumor whispered among the fleeing convoys about a fleet from the outer spiral, a fleet that no one had seen in centuries. A fleet that carried the flag of a forgotten world called Earth. The stories were dismissed as fantasies. Humanity had withdrawn from galactic politics after the Council exiled them generations ago. They had vanished into the unknown, cut off from every star map, leaving behind only myths of their defiance. But now, as the cold wind carried the scent of burnt metal and despair, Raylan found himself wishing the legends were true. Above the planet, the Dominion warships hung in formation like black daggers. Their flagship, the Imposer, was a monstrous vessel of dark alloys, bristling with weapons. Its commander, High Warlord Crix, surveyed the planet from his bridge with a predatory calm. "The last stronghold is secure," reported his lieutenant. "Resistance has ceased." Crix gave a low growl of satisfaction. "Good, prepare orbital cleansing. Let their ashes serve as a warning to the rest of the frontier." As his words echoed through the command deck, sensors flared to life. A faint disturbance rippled across the system's outer edge. A gravitational tremor, sharp and unnatural. "Report," Crix demanded. "Unknown mass signatures approaching," said the sensor officer. "No transponder. No council codes. It's massive, sir." "How many? Dozen? No, hundreds. Wait, thousands." The officer's voice trembled. The readings spiked off the charts as if the very fabric of space was being pulled apart. Then, one by one, the unknown signatures resolved on the screen, sleek metallic forms sliding out of folded light. They came in silence, emerging from the void like specters. Their hulls were black with streaks of silver marked by a single insignia, a blue sphere encircled by wings of white light. The bridge of the Imposer fell still. "What are they?" Crix hissed. The communications officer's voice faltered. "Signal incoming, encrypted on ancient Terran bands." "Translation complete." A calm voice filled the air, steady and resolute. "This is Admiral Marcus Hale of the Earth Supreme Fleet. By order of the Terran Command Authority, cease hostilities immediately and withdraw all Dominion forces from occupied worlds. Failure to comply will result in total annihilation." For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Crix's laughter broke the silence, low and cruel. "Earth? Impossible. Those primitives are extinct." But before his laughter could die, the first human dreadnought moved. It wasn't like any ship the galaxy had ever seen. The HSS Resolute glided forward, dwarfing the Dominion fleet. Its armor shimmered with reactive plating that distorted light around it. Ion storms crackled along its hull, and the vast cannons mounted beneath its spine hummed with energy beyond comprehension. "Target the lead ship," Crix ordered. "Fire at will." Hundreds of Dominion warships unleashed a barrage that could have shattered moons. Bolts of plasma missiles and rail slugs streaked through the void and vanished. The projectiles bent, fragmented, and dissolved into harmless light as they touched the distortion field surrounding the human vessel. Then the Resolute fired once. A single beam lanced through the dark, silent and precise. It cut through 3 Dominion cruisers and vaporized their cores before their shields even registered the impact. The rest of the human fleet advanced in perfect formation, silent, disciplined, unrelenting. There were carriers with rotating gravity rings, stealth destroyers with hulls that seemed to fade in and out of visibility, and vast capital ships armed with weapons that glowed like captured stars. Each movement was coordinated with surgical precision. Drones fanned out in swarms, intercepting enemy fire before it could reach human lines. Pulse cannons erupted in synchronized bursts, carving paths through enemy ranks. On the surface of Carthus, the survivors looked up. The clouds split apart, and streaks of blue light fell from the sky as dropships descended. Soldiers in armor of matte silver landed among the ruins, their insignia bearing the same Earth symbol. They moved with calm efficiency, establishing perimeter shields and setting up field hospitals. Raylan stared in disbelief as one of them approached. The soldier's voice was filtered but clear. "You're safe now. Earth has returned." Above them, the battle raged on. The Dominion fleet broke formation, their once disciplined ranks collapsing under the relentless precision of the human offensive. Every attempt at retreat was cut off by warp interdiction fields. Every counterattack was neutralized by predictive targeting systems that seemed to read the enemy's thoughts. Crix roared in fury. All ships focus fire on their flagship. The Imposer's main cannon charged, the energy buildup lighting the void. For a brief moment it seemed the Dominion might land a decisive blow, but before the weapon could fire, the Resolute unleashed a pulse of energy that rippled across space, disabling every Dominion weapon system in a 100,000-kilometer radius. Then, from behind the human lines, something even greater emerged. It was not a ship in the traditional sense. It was a construct the size of a continent, its surface layered with living metal that shimmered like a mirage. It moved without thrusters bending gravity itself. The fleet's sensors couldn't even register its full dimensions. It seemed to stretch beyond measurable space. The Admiral's voice returned, calm as ever. "This is the Supreme Ark, command vessel of the Earth Defense Dominion. We are here to end your tyranny." Crix's arrogance faltered. His sensors overloaded, his ship's systems flickered, and his crew stared in terror as the human superstructure's energy signature eclipsed that of an entire star. The Supreme Ark activated its main array. A beam of pure white light expanded, not to destroy but to disarm. Dominion ships froze in place, their reactors going cold as though drained of life. Crix slammed his clawed fist on the console. "You think this changes anything? You can't hold what you conquer." Admiral Hale's voice replied, unshaken. "We're not here to conquer. We're here to remind the galaxy that humanity protects its own." In less than an hour, the Dominion Armada was no more. Some vessels were captured, others fled into the void. The once invincible Imposer drifted powerless, its hull cracked and engines dead. As silence fell over the stars, human ships spread across the system, restoring communications, distributing aid, and guiding refugees aboard. The Carthys survivors watched as the blue insignia was projected across the sky. Earth's return, undeniable and radiant. Raylan stood among the rescued, his eyes wide as he looked upon the massive vessels that filled orbit. He felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. Later, when the Dominion's surrender message was transmitted across the galaxy, billions watched in disbelief. The footage of the human fleet spread like wildfire. Worlds that had once laughed at Earth's exile now spoke their name with awe. Empires that had once dominated the weak trembled, for they had seen what humanity had become. The Council convened an emergency session, their great chamber echoing with panic. Some demanded peace treaties. Others called for immediate alliances, but no one dared threaten Earth again. Far from the Council's eyes, deep in the command deck of the Supreme Ark, Admiral Hale stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Dozens of human systems pulsed in the dark, hidden strongholds, colonies beyond the rim, fleets that had waited in silence for centuries. He turned to his officers. "Send the message to all sectors. Let them know we are here. No world will stand alone again." The officer nodded and transmitted the signal. Across the stars, human fleets awakened, battle groups emerging from hidden slipspace gates, colonies reactivating defense grids and relay stations lighting up one by one. And across countless worlds where hope had died, beings looked to the sky and saw the emblem of Earth blazing like a promise reborn. The legend spread, Humanity had not perished, nor forgotten the pain of exile. They had gone beyond the known stars, built an empire of unity and strength, and now returned not as conquerors, but as guardians. For every race that had suffered in silence, the message was clear. The age of fear was ending. The age of humanity had begun, above the reborn world.